Interest rates are up, more interest rate hikes expected. Interest rates make everything unaffordable. This is the end of everything. It's like every day, another dramatic clickbait headline warning you about interest rates and the housing market. It seems like everyone understands all this but you, when in fact, most of us are walking around with about 75% understanding and 25% confusion. So how are you supposed to know what the smart moves are for you, your goals, your family? Or you can sit here with me for a minute while I break this down simple enough that a middle schooler can understand it. In fact, if you know any middle schoolers, have them watch too. They're going to need this someday. To understand how interest rates affect you, first you have to understand how your monthly payment is calculated. The house payment, the check you write every month, or the e-payment you make, is made up of 4 parts. Part of it goes to the principal, which is the total amount of money you borrowed from the bank. The interest is the amount of money the bank charges you every month to borrow all that money, and for several years at the beginning of the loan, this is the biggest portion of your payment. Then there's property taxes, because goodness knows the government will always get a piece, and your homeowner's insurance, because the bank can't have your house burning down with no way to pay them back. Now, this isn't exactly all of it. I have mortgage broker friends out there who are banging their heads against a wall because I've oversimplified it all so much. But it's the basics, 4 parts. You get it. This is key if you're a first-time home buyer to understand, because a lender can be talking to you about your monthly payment and only include the principal and interest and not include the taxes and insurance. They're not trying to trick you. They do that because taxes and insurance are calculated later, and any amount that they give you up front is an estimate. But if you don't know there are 2 other items being added on, you can get an unpleasant surprise. So whenever a lender is talking about monthly payments, always ask them if their number includes insurance and taxes. And even if it does, those are only estimates because the bank doesn't control that part of your monthly payment. Interest rates are up. In 2021, you probably heard that most people were getting near 3% interest, but now most homebuyers are closer to 5%. Which makes you wonder, can 2 little percentage points really make that big of a difference? Well, let's see. Let's take this house, and you're going to borrow money from the bank to buy this house, and we're going to use an easy round number, $500,000. That's your principal, how much you've borrowed from the bank. And let's say you have a 3% interest rate. So here's basically how you calculate the interest payment portion of your monthly bill. You take that $500,000 at 3% interest, and you figure up that 3% of $500,000 is $15,000. Then you take that $15,000 and divide it by 12 months in a year, and you get $1,250 each month. Now, if you take that $500,000 at 5% and you figure up that 5% is $25,000, divide that $25,000 by 12, and you get $2,083 per month. Real quick, before folks start correcting me in the comments, yes, this is recalculated each month. So each month it's $1 or $2 less, but today let's just keep this simple and easy to compare. Look at these numbers. For a $500,000 loan, you pay at 3% $15,000 the first year and $1,250 each month. At 5%, you pay $25,000 in the first year and $2,083 each month. So yes, there is a big difference between 3% and 5% interest rates. Less than 3% interest is a memory at this point, and it's not coming back. You're not going to have the jackpot winning ticket anymore. I'm not going to lie, you missed out on that one. Right now, most folks are getting about 5%. Well, goodness, that's kind of depressing. Okay, if you're feeling down, take a deep breath. 5% is not that bad. In 2017 and 2018, when people got that rate, they were happy. This year, it was the lowest in history. Take a look at what interest rates have been through the decades. The 1990s, or what I call high school and college years, the average interest rate was 8.12%. And the 1980s were 12.7%. Let's time warp back to the 1990s and take that 8.12% interest rate and put it toward our $500,000 loan. 8.12% of $500,000 is $40,600. Divided by 12 months in the year comes to $3,383 a month just in interest. The 5% loan at $2,083 monthly interest payment isn't looking too shabby now, is it? So if interest rates go up to 8%, most of us will need to take out a smaller loan. The way to do that is to put more money down or buy a less expensive house. So what happens if you lower the principal, the loan amount to $300,000? At 8.12, the monthly interest rate payment comes back down to $2,030. And at 5%, where we are right now, it's $1,250. The lesson here is if you're planning on buying in the next year or two, you can afford more house now or get a lower payment now than you will be able to get in a few months when rates go up again. And the only thing all the experts agree on is that the rates will go up again. Most experts think 7% is coming, and the doom and gloomers are saying 10% or maybe more. So if a home purchase is in your plans and you can buy now, don't put it off. Going ahead now will get you more house and save you thousands. But wait a second. Maybe you've heard that when interest rates go up, house prices go down. Or maybe you've been waiting for the market to cool so you can pick up a bargain like folks did in 2008 and 2009. Excellent points. You've been doing your reading and paying attention. So let's check the numbers. In Northeast Florida, we have one of the hottest markets in the nation, and the supply is still below demand. So as the market calms, and experts are expecting a 2 to 5% drop in prices. Other markets around the nation have more homes than buyers, and yes, there are a few cities that have a whole lot more homes than buyers, and these markets have a definite bubble and are expecting to drop up to a whopping 20%. But bringing the conversation back to Northeast Florida and our very nice $500,000 home we want to buy. Now let's suppose we don't buy this house today and instead we wait for 1 year to see what happens. And the price drops 2%, and then we can buy it for $490,000. If it drops 5%, it's yours for $475,000. Or even 10% drop, and you can get this home for only $450,000. That's pretty great, saving $50,000 just for waiting. Let's suppose, though, that in the year we waited for the price to go down, the interest rates go up again, and now the average rate is 7%. You can see the monthly portion of your payment will, just for the interest, will be $2,625. Now, what if it's as bad as the worst predictions and this house drops a whopping 20%, all the way down to $400,000? You waited a year and you are getting this house for $100,000 yet less. Woo-hoo! You are such a savvy shopper. But again, we will assume the interest rates a year later is 7%. Your monthly interest payment would be $2,333. And there is another possibility you have to consider. No one has a crystal ball or knows for certain what is coming, and more people from around the country could keep on wanting to move to Florida. Even with interest rates going up, home values could continue to rise. Maybe not 26% value increases or more like we've seen the past 2 crazy years. And maybe homes won't sell in weeks. It will take a few months. But values can still rise if there's enough demand. And our $500,000 home we want to buy could cost more a year later. Let's suppose maybe a 5% increase. Now your $500,000 house is $525,000 with a 7% interest rate. That makes monthly interest payments $3,063. So waiting a year could cost you almost $1,000 extra every month. That's probably the worst case, but it's definitely a possibility, and you should be thinking about it while you're weighing out all your options. And even if the price drops 20%, all the way down to $400,000, if interest rates go up to 7%, waiting a year will still increase your interest payment $250 a month. But let's take a look at this from all angles. We want to be fair to all the voices. Maybe you've heard talk and you've seen things that say everyone has got this wrong. And we have a zombie apocalypse, Mad Max Thunderdome, asteroids hitting the Earth, nationwide housing bubble, worse than the collapse in 2008, and your Northeast Florida home loses an unprecedented 50%. And you'll be able to buy it for only $250,000. Pretty sweet deal, huh? If all that happens and humans are still buying homes with money and credit and you have any money left to your name, fantastic credit, and a bank that is still loaning money, you'd have to assume that the interest rate would be astronomically high too. Let's take the highest interest rate in recent history, 12% like it was in the 1980s. You could buy this home for an amazing $250,000 with a 12% interest rate, and your monthly interest payment would be $2,500. And also, your next door neighbor wants to eat your brains. So, there's that. Even with houses' values cut in half, your monthly interest payment goes up $417. Sadly, unless you're independently wealthy and plan on paying cash for your house, the interest rates are more critical to you and your circumstances than the home's market price. Now that you know how the interest portion of your payment is calculated, you can see how much the interest rate affects how much house you can afford. It's always good to make decisions that are financially sound, but unlike any other investment, keep in mind that this is also a home. This is where your moments happen, where your kids sleep and take their first steps, where you go to hide away when the world is too much, and where you celebrate your triumphs with the ones who matter most. So yes, be smart, but unlike any other financial decision, don't forget to use your heart too. Just to be clear, I am not a lender. I just work with a bunch of them. And this illustration is not exact, and the way these numbers are calculated is more complicated than this. But most finance people will tell you that while my video is not precise, it's basically how this whole system works. I always say the best time to buy or sell your home is when you are ready to buy or sell your home. And when you are, you should work with an agent who understands the current market and can work it to your best advantage. But if you are thinking about making a home change in the next 6 to 24 months, you should be considering what's happening with the interest rates in your plans. Do you want to talk more about your home plans? There's no cost or obligation. We're just talking after all. That's my number right there. I don't mind if you use it. I'm Katharine Davis, your Jacksonville Home Girl. Talk to you soon.